everybody. Welcome to episode 2 of this podcast. Square it up.
On the square, yep.
Check out this. Abbie's been working on our logo, and boy, that really pops. It looks really good. That's a nice shot of the square, too. And so thanks to our producer, Abbie, for helping us with that. Square It Up. It's our new podcast from the Swinford Media Group. I'm Bill Swinford.
I'm Monica Daniels.
And we are pleased to have you with us. We hope you got to see episode 1 where we talked quite a bit about the square and what's going on and the way it's kind of torn up right now. I mean, it's really torn up right now. They are going to town out there and they're doing a great job. What I've noticed is that the curb around the center of the square that's been redone is a much higher curb now. And that's kind of what they're finishing up this week, is getting that curb polished off. I think the reason on that is it's a safety issue, right? Mm-hmm. So if cars are, kind of lose their way and hit that curb, it was low enough before, they might just be able to easily jump up on there. And we got a lot of kids and things on the square now. And so that curb stands about that high now, maybe even a little taller. And I'm sure it's going to help. It's going to help what they're doing. I think it's going to help with drainage as well. So hang in there with us through it. It's a little dangerous to park out there. We've learned too.
It is,
or even to find a spot, right?
Yeah, it is. Like there's a lot going on. A lot of construction workers are parked up there. So my go-to now is just to kind of go back behind, like Crown Brew and where the Street and Arts is, and park back there. Yeah. Because just finding a spot up there is pretty tough right now.
Swinford's being the lazy people that we are. We fight for those spots on the square. We will weave through all of that construction and those trucks, and we will find our way to it. But it kind of worked against my son yesterday. Riley parked his brand new vehicle right in front of our building, and one of the very good construction workers was trying to get his wheelbarrow in the back of his truck, which was next to Riley's, and it kind of fell over and hit the side of his new SUV and did a little damage there. So thankfully, there was a quick response from the company and their insurance agency, and all that's going to be taken care of. But I'm just saying that just to caution you against parking on the square very much, because there is just a lot going on, and people complain about parking downtown, and I get it. But really, where else do you go that's worth any place to go that you don't expect to park and maybe walk a couple of blocks? And that's the situation. There is parking within 2 blocks of the square, even 3 blocks of the square. Plenty of parking to be found, and it's definitely worth walking up. Especially like yesterday, we have learned there's a new business on the square, and you and I got to visit.
Yeah, Milkweed Provisions.
Milkweed
Provisions. Yeah, it was walked in just this beautiful space right next to where Granny Puckets has been. It has beautiful wines and foods and books for sale. There's even some clothes hanging up, places to sit and have a glass of wine. We had a fun little shopping trip there when we were there.
And we've got a little clip with Kara, the owner, and we'll play that for you right now. You can listen to Kara Flaherty, is her last name, Flaherty, Flaherty, which is not an easy name to say. She'll be telling you a little bit about her business. If you're watching, you'll see her, and a little bit of B-roll of the location right downtown.
All right, so I moved here from St. Louis with my husband, who's actually from Johnson City, and we have a house in Harron. I've been coming down here for a decade, so I just kind of was ready to leave the city and moved here. My background is pretty extensive as far as restaurants are concerned. I ran a wine program for a restaurant group that included 4 restaurants and a retail program. And have been doing that for probably 20 years and as a whole, like working through restaurants and retail. So decided to open up my own place down here, and here we are. So it's a little culmination of everything that I've done in my life wrapped into one store. So this is it.
It's beautiful.
Thank you.
So what are your hours going to be, Kara?
We're going to be open Tuesday through Friday from 10 to 6, and then Saturday will be 10 to 2. And then we'll probably add additional hours as time goes on, kind of match up the schedule with the Cultural Civic Center. So if there's a show, you can come in and grab a glass of wine and a little cheese plate.
Well, welcome.
Thank you.
Glad to have you here. We'll come see you often.
All right.
So that's Kara, and she's just great, isn't she?
She is.
And she gave you a little gift. I mean, we bought some nice things from her,
We did.
but we were surprised that a little gift with the purchase was this, which is a little container. What to say on there?
Granny Puckets.
Granny Puckets. We were thrilled because, there was a lot of sadness and mourning downtown a few weeks back when Granny Puckets closed. And I think a lot of people are under the assumption that Granny Puckets is done, right?
Yeah, it was sad. It was like a funeral.
But, yeah, and the people were literally lined up like a funeral on their last day going in. But, no, I think Tammy, the owner, is still in there making her stuff, and including these great cinnamon rolls that they're known for. And she gave us one. I don't know why there's a bite taken out. I'm not sure.
I think that was you.
I'm not sure what
I'm pretty
happened.
sure you took
But
the bite.
but I told Monica I'd save it for her.
I was like, I think the caretaker is the word I use. Could you be a caretaker for the cinnamon roll?
Yeah, and I'm also a taste tester.
Yes, I'm more than happy to share my cinnamon rolls.
Okay, and so anyway, here's the thing about Granny Puckets, right? She's
so
still
good.
she's still in there. It's still got the sign on the door. I am kind of optimistic that we have not seen the last of Granny Puckett on the square in that location.
It's looking good that one of the best bakeries around is going to be still making cinnamon rolls and accessible and cupcakes and whatever we need from her.
So keep your fingers crossed.
Yeah.
And so she'll be right next door to Milkweed Provisions. And again, another lovely store. And Kara, having brought her business down from St. Louis, is a great addition to the square. So we welcome her and are thankful for her. While we were there, we saw Rachel Stroud, who's formerly with our group, Swinford Media Group, now the communications director for the city of Marion, and talked to her a little bit. And that reminds me that we need to wish a happy retirement to the city of Marion's treasurer, Steve Hale. He worked for years and years under Mayor Robert Butler, did an excellent job, always very reliable. One of those guys that he's the numbers guy, right? And he'd always present the numbers. They were always true, always good. And but he's stepping down and retiring after 27 years. So we wish the best to Steve. They had a little retirement thing for him this week. So congratulations, Steve, on that. So we were talking about driving carefully around the square. You'd have to be careful down there because it can be dangerous. Well, I had an experience yesterday that was also kind of dangerous on the square.
Okay.
Okay.
What was that?
Well, our building, our building is it's an old building. Somebody asked me yesterday how old the building is. It's kind of hard to know because if you look at pictures that go back over 100 years, the building looks kind of the same, kind of different. And I was told that part of the building burned to the ground and they rebuilt it, and that might be that explains why it looks a little different. And if you look at it, it kind of looks like those two sides go together, and in some ways it doesn't. So, but the upstairs of our building, we do know, had a fire back in 1964, and that part of the building hasn't been occupied since 1964. And we look forward to the day when that area upstairs is finished and renovated. But for the meantime, it's just it looks like it literally looks like that fire just happened up there. And we had an incident happen where we had some windows get broken and the birds started coming in, and we got those windows fixed, but there are still pigeons in there. We were thinking my son and I will sit in our office and we'll hear pigeons upstairs. And now that those windows have been fixed, we worry about them because we know they're kind of trapped in there. So we were having somebody come and do some work for us, and went up there yesterday, and I had to fight off like 8 pigeons, an attack of 8 pigeons.
And you survived. You lived to tell about it.
I did.
Yeah.
And they were
How are the pigeons after this battle? Did they?
well. I didn't hurt them in any way. I would not hurt a pigeon. But there's a couple of movies like Mary Poppins. There's a pigeon lady, right? Remember Feed the Birds lady,
yeah, Feed
right?
the Birds.
All those pigeons around. Home Alone, right? There's another movie with a lot of pigeons around.
Were you having that kind of moment?
I felt that way, except they weren't very nice to me. I should have taken food up to them. I should have fed the birds, but I didn't.
Well, maybe that's why they weren't nice to you. You didn't bring food.
I guess
You need
so.
to take-
But I freaked them out, man. And they were like dive bombing me and things. And I I can't even begin to describe what a scary situation this was. But
Hungry pigeons. There,
Right.
you don't want to mess with them.
right, so I kind of kept shooing them away from where we
Do
were.
they have nests up there? Are they protecting their nests? Babies?
Very,
Are there babies?
They're well, could be. They're just a bunch of open rafters, so they can
Yeah.
fly kind of room to room up above it, and they kept flying area to area. And every time I'd go to one area, they'd take off for another, and they're noisy. They flap the flap of their wings. Anyway, talking way too long about this.
And messy?
But we did open one of the back windows up in hopes that they will fly back out, and so we'll check on that today and
Okay.
see how that's going.
Well, yeah.
I just wanted to let you know that you're lucky that I'm even here.
We are. I'm glad you survived the pigeon
Yes.
attack.
All right. So
You're my hero. You're so brave.
thank you. That's
You're
all
so brave.
that's all I needed to hear.
I know who to call when I get attacked by pigeons.
Exactly. Right. So speaking of flying objects, I was at the Southern Illinois Airport the other day.
I was so excited. Yeah, I love that story you were telling me about.
Yeah, so it's kind of between Carbondale and Murfreesboro,
Yeah.
and it's been around for a long time, but I hadn't been there in a while,
Mm-hmm.
and I didn't realize how expansive it is. You know, the Southern Illinois University's aeronautics program is fantastic there, and they train a lot of pilots and those that are going into that business. And so therefore they also have, some pretty major airliners, or I should say planes and jets out there on the tarmac that they use for instruction and things. And so it looks like a major airport when you pull through there anymore. And we went, went to meet with a group of friends, men that I've kind of getting to know, working with at St. Nicholas, what's it called? St. Nicholas Brewing Company.
Right.
It has a location in DeQuoin, I believe.
Yes.
They also have a location there. And had the chance to meet with Wayne Searles, who's the owner of Rendleman Orchards. Wonderful man. First time I'd ever met him. Look forward, we're going to get back together and look forward to seeing him again. But all I'm saying is if you're over that direction, you kind of drive all the way through the airport, down through Airport Road, past all the hangars and so on. And at the end, you'll find St. Nicholas Brewing Company. Go in, and you can even sit outside. If it's nice weather, you can sit outside right on the runway.
Really? Yeah, this sounds like something like your little boys would love. You know,
Sure.
to take your little boys or little children to go watch the planes while you have a meal. And
Yeah.
Like,
just even
yeah,
driving
just-
back there, seeing all the big planes on the side.
yeah, and I haven't been there to the St. Nicholas Brewing Company, but I've heard a lot of really great things about it.
Yeah.
So yeah, I definitely want to get out there.
Yeah, so that's another nice experience that I've had and wanted to tell you about, and I look forward to you and I going sometime. Maybe we can shoot a little video and tell people more about it.
That would be great. Yeah, I'd love that.
So something I wanted to talk about today and spend just a little bit of time on is the big announcement that came last week, where financing was finalized for the construction of the new Oasis Sports development in Marion. Now, this is just a piece of the puzzle of this Oasis development, which is basically everything, not everything, but most of the things that are happening on the west side of the interstate in Marion, on the west side of Interstate 57, is being run and developed by the Oasis organization. And the Oasis organization was begun by the owners of Black Diamond and Harley Davidson, and they added some other valuable people to their team. And as we know, or maybe you don't know, they bought Cocopelli Golf Course. They bought the old Illinois Star Center Mall. They bought now what is now called Mountain Dew Park, the minor league stadium, and they bought so much other property around Black Diamond, Harley Davidson, the mall, the pavilion of the city of Marion. They didn't buy the pavilion, but they bought all the land around it, and they have this plan. And we've been telling through the Swinford Media Group and the Marion Star, we've been telling folks about this plan for a couple of years, but it's really starting to come together. And over this next year, they're going to be building this sports park out by the pavilion. That's a little different than the minor league stadium in that it is made for sports tourism. You've seen where I'm talking about, right?
Yeah, I have. Yeah,
It's just right out there as you take that road back to the pavilion. You can see it on the right.
Yeah, I've seen that.
And
Yeah,
you see these signs, and you see earth being moved around, even up to now. But the financing, $30 million project, the financing to build this sports complex out there has been secured. So what happened last week is the city of Marion and the Williamson County government, the commissioners, came together in a joint meeting, and they formally agreed to something they'd been working on, which was an intergovernmental agreement where the county and their hotel motel tax that they get, and the city and theirs, decided to figure out how to pool that money in order to be able to pay back a $30 million loan. They ended up borrowing that money from a little consortium of local banks that got together and contributed to the pool. And so the money's there for Rodney Cabanis and the Oasis developers to go to work in earnest and get this done. It's going to be a series of ball fields. I've got some images I'm going to throw up. Series of ball fields and an outdoor complex that will be very impressive.
Yeah.
All turf.
Yeah.
That means it's good in any weather. It's going to be something that's going to draw in people from all over the place. I mean, people will come here from many states away for these tournaments.
Yeah, and can I just say, too, one of the things that I'm so grateful for is the quality people that this area has pulled in that sees all of the potential that we have in this beautiful area of the country. Southern Illinois is just so rich in resources, such amazing, gifted people, and there are people that are here that see the value and the resources and the potential that it has, and they're willing to invest $30 million into this area, to show, the rest of the state and around us, what we have and what we have to offer.
Because they're not. These are not fools. To your point, I mean, these are professionals who have done these things other places, and you can even just start with even like the restaurant chains that are moving in. Some of the restaurant chains that are already in place or that we know that are coming. You got your Chick-fil-A's, you got your Olive Gardens, you've got so many others that are going to be right around that area that are in development. We got 4 new hotels that are going to be built in the next year in support of this. All of these places have their research teams that have to know that a local economy is going to be able to support their location before they even look at buying land and breaking ground and putting up their structure. A concern that I do hear is about, do we have the workforce to handle this? Because that does seem like a little bit of an issue when you go to a restaurant and they're only seating half the tables because maybe they're short on waiters and waitresses. And so I talked to Rodney Cabanis a little bit about that at the meeting that happened between the city and the county. And he talked about how both the university, Southern Illinois University, and John A. Logan and the other local community colleges are really shifting their workforce development toward the industry that we're going to have. And so much of that industry is now going to be entertainment. It's a little different. We're not going to be in an area that's, that is supported by the coal mines like we used to be back in the day, or some other big industry. Ison's great, and we got a few other industries but there are going to be a lot of what should be pretty decent jobs in the entertainment industry now available here. So they are really working to develop our local workforce and find the people that will be needed for this.
So it seems like to me that the area is just coming into this full spectrum of opportunities for people. If your bent is towards industry and working in industry, then we have ISON, or the creative arts, all the murals that are going up and all of the new aesthetics that appeal to creative people that are coming in. And then we have the sports tourism that's coming in that is more geared towards an athletic, sports-minded person. It's just this full spectrum of opportunity are coming up in this whole region, for different types of people, and how we can just, get along and, and just have something for everyone,
And we will talk more about that sports tourism piece in an upcoming podcast. I want to really explain to people what an industry that really is. In America today, billions and billions and billions of dollars annually come to local economies through sports tourism. My kids have been involved in that for years as coaches and running their own traveling basketball teams that travel during the summer. So these aren't school teams. that are coming around. All those schools will have an opportunity probably to use the facilities, and local kids will have an opportunity to train at these facilities. But for the most part, the tourism is going to be teams, like I said, coming in from states away to come together, 100 teams at a time coming together and to do tournaments. And when you talk about all those kids and all their families and all those hotel rooms that those large baseball teams, for instance, are going to need, 20 to 30 kids at a time, and all of their families coming in to play a baseball game. Not only do you have all of that, but you have the opportunity to entertain them while they're here, because there is always dead time when you go to a sports tournament, this kind of sports tournament. My sons have done basketball, and they're preparing for that as well. I'll tell you the story about how my sons met with some of the developers and gave them some advice based on their experiences, and that's a story for another time. But I've done this with them for years, and you just see these folks are just, okay, I don't play for another 6 hours. What am I going to do? So Rodney and his group are preparing to give them something to do when they get here. And there's always the opportunity to draw them downtown too.
Yeah.
And that's why we need to keep talking about how great Marion Square is and is becoming, because there's going to be so much that people will want to see and experience downtown. It'll be kind of two different worlds happening just on opposite sides of the town, but they can definitely, help each other.
Work
in that
together,
way.
yeah, for sure.
Okay, so that's something to look forward to. As we look forward to what's coming later this week, got a couple shows at the Marion Cultural and Civic Center that I wanted to mention.
Let's talk about that.
So on May 10th, which is Friday, Cher is not going to be there. Some people have thought Cher was going to be there. They saw her picture up there on the sign, but it's not her. It's somebody that looks a lot like her doing a tribute show. They say she's great. Okay. So if you like Cher, go see this show. It'll maybe the closest thing you get to seeing Cher. Cher's getting up there.
Oh, she is. Yeah, she still looks great though. But I mean,
yeah, well, from afar, kind of like me. Well,
she's a talented lady. Yeah,
a lot of makeup. On May 11th, Saturday, Jim Messina's coming. Okay, Jim Messina. Tom, you know Jim Messina?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, but I'll let you elaborate because I don't want to sound like I don't know what I'm talking about.
Loggins and Messina, going back to the 70s. Kenny Loggins.
Oh, yeah.
Good music.
Yeah.
Great music. And so they were a team. They put out some great music in the 70s. Jim is coming too. He's up there. He's maybe 80 years old now, but he's still getting it done.
Is Kenny Loggins?
Kenny's not coming this time.
He's not going to be here.
No. I know how much you love Kenny Loggins.
I saw him at an airport once.
Yeah.
Said hi to him. He's a nice guy, but yeah.
Yeah.
Footloose. He did Footloose, right?
Yeah, that's Footloose Guy. That's one of his many songs, right? So, no. But yes, Jim Messina will be here. So check those out. I'm sure there are tickets still available. Got anything else that you want to mention?
Okay. So I do want to mention, you definitely want to make it up to the new Milkweed Provisions store. Yeah. They had gourmet peanut butter and all kinds of things. You definitely want to make it up there.
I brought some of that. I'm looking forward to breaking into this. Matter of fact, I think we're going to do another Monica Minute on letting you taste this.
Okay.
Because you hate peanut butter.
I do hate peanut butter.
But this sounds really good.
But I know how much you love peanut butter, so I'm willing to try.
Peanut butter, butterscotch, milk chocolate, and Rice Krispies all in one little thing here.
Blows my mind. How do you even get all of that into one?
I don't know, and she had so many different options on that. So we'll do that. Do a little taste test. I already told Abbie and Tom. I don't think I told Tom, but I told Abbie that we were going to get her in on that too, and let him taste that. We have some other items that made locally that we'll throw into that too. So okay, well we'll kick with something. We like to kick with something kind of a poll for you. Ask you if you think this is a good idea, and I have a brilliant idea.
Okay, let's see.
I can't take credit for it. I saw this on something, but I think it's great. So what about the idea of 2 dishwashers? This is for all of us who are trying to manage the home, try to stay ahead of the thing. Okay, so you think about the way your kitchen's made, right? And you got these lower cabinets, and a lot of times those lower cabinets just have a lot of stuff shoved in there that you rarely use. Maybe some big pots or pans or Tupperware or whatever that's shoved down there that you might need on rare occasion.
Right.
So why not take one of those little cabinet areas and put in a second dishwasher? What about that? Because here's the brilliance behind it. So you take a second dishwasher and you fill the first one, right? Mm-hmm. And you wash it. Mm-hmm. And then you got a dishwasher full of clean dishes. So if you're like things at my house, sometimes those dishes never actually make it to the cabinets, right? You just pull out of the dishwasher until you're out, and then you refill the dishwasher.
That's true.
So what you do, just so you have a clean sink, you have a second dishwasher. You take those dirty dishes and put them in there until that fills. About that time, this one's starting to get emptier, but it might be half full. And so then you wash the second dishwasher full of dishes, and you just have these two signs that you put on the two, clean and dirty, dirty and clean. And you're going back and forth. And then think about all the cabinet space up here you don't need because you're not actually putting the dishes away anyway.
So you're opening up all that space. You know, it's funny. I actually know a woman who moved into a house with 2 dishwashers, and she was telling me her first response was like, 2 dishwashers? That's just, what are they thinking? And then very quickly, she just got to a place where she couldn't imagine life without 2 dishwashers. It made her life more convenient and more organized.
Right.
And just then moving forward, she made a point of making sure she had 2 dishwashers in her kitchen. So I do know someone who had this experience, and she loves it. And I think that's a great idea. That would probably save a lot of time. And I've actually have read different reports and things, if you're going to save water, that actually a dishwasher uses less water than manually hand washing your dishes. So, any excuse you can give me to reserve water.
Well, sure.
let's just use the dishwasher. Why manually hand wash when I could save water?
You're
and use
very
my dishwasher?
environmentally friendly. And you don't want to stand at the sink anymore.
I don't want to stand at the sink.
Yeah. So how about you? Does anybody out there have 2 dishwashers? Tell us what it's like. Do you have 2 washing machines? Some people have 2 washing machines.
Yeah. Well, if you have a large family, that would be definitely a thing.
Or even a small family.
Toddlers or home alone by yourself. No, just kidding.
Well, if you got a lot of clothes, sometimes those clothes could really pile up. Maybe you have two washing machines and knock them out.
Now, my clothes are dirty clothes. What's up? I think my dirty clothes pile is like a living entity that reproduces by dividing and multiplying.
Yeah.
It just grows it's just out of control. So,
well,
two washing
you might
machines,
relate to some of this. You might not.
Maybe
but
not.
We've got to eat this cinnamon roll, and so we got to go. But
staring at us.
yeah, but we appreciate you joining us. It's been a lot of fun. Monica, thanks.
Thank you.
Thank you, Abbie.
Fun. Enjoy it. Thank you, Abbie.
Let people hear your voice, Abbie. Thanks, Abbie. No. Okay. That was her laughing. You might have heard her laughing. And thanks, Tom, as always, for making everything happen here. Well, that's our Squared Up. And we'll come back at you again real soon, probably before the end of the week. So stay tuned for that. Thanks for listening, and thanks for watching.
Thank you.
See you later.